Right then, United are back this weekend against Brighton. It's at home, it's at Old Trafford, and it is a serious, tough fixture. And it's a serious, tough couple of fixtures as well, because we bounced straight out of Brighton into Bayern. We could go 0 for 2 in these next two games. Let's hope we don't, but we could. And as always, this video is sponsored by our match preview partners, Parimatch UK. A little bit later on in the video, I will be giving you my exclusive bet boost, and you can find that and all the other sections in the preview in the chapters below if you want to go check all of those out or skip right to it. So, first things first, situational preview then. The first game after international break. Players have had at least a little bit of a mental break from Premier League, so hopefully that's had a little bit of a positive effect on us. Although, in the meantime, I'm going to be honest with you, we've had more statements than we've had points this season. And it feels like this week has just been, someone's been really getting a lot of practice at writing statements. Now, in our last 5 with Brighton, we have won 2 and lost 3. Didn't expect that, but that's how it looks at the moment. We are facing a little bit of an injury crisis, I think it's safe to say, with Ten Hag. It's going to be interesting to see what sort of selection he's able to put out. For various reasons, we are missing Varane, Shaw, Anthony. Amrabat's going to be 50-50. I'm going to include him in mine, but he might not be ready to start a Premier League match straight away after a little bit of a niggle that he had on international duty. Brighton themselves are coming off a really, really strong 3-1 victory against Newcastle. Confidence is high for them. They are 6th in the Premier League. They've lost an entire midfield and have not skipped a single beat, which is mega impressive from them. All the goals in that game were scored by 18-year-old Evan Ferguson, who is looking fantastic for Brighton. Recently, there was a little bit of a scare that he might be out, for them at least. The scare is actually for United because it doesn't look like he's out and he is going to be fit, according to De Zerbi. So in terms of how they play, it is a play style to be impressed by, and it's going to be one that gets much copied by people who are able to do so. They've really been cooking up some impressive football in recent seasons, and I think De Zerbi has actually built on top a little bit of what was happening under the previous regimes. They've broken into the top 8. And I think they're going to stay there as a bit of a consistent force. And they've done so whilst maintaining the constant churn of selling some of their best players, which is incredible. And they've done so with this really sort of spatial and actually quite direct approach to football. They press high. They utilise the wide areas to their maximum and minimum width. They transition excellently from attack to defence and defence to attack. If you called them a counter-attacking side, it would be completely unfair. They're excellent in the transition, but calling them a counter-attacking side only, it's unfair and wrong, as we've seen them dominate possession and actually go toe-to-toe with the very, very best Premier League sides, which they've got no right to do so on the budget and spend and the squad that they put out on paper. Since getting the job at Brighton, we have seen De Zerbi line up primarily with a 4-2-3-1, and that's allowed them to transition really effectively, as well as form different structures depending on the phase of play. Losing McAllister and Caicedo, I thought was going to make life really hard for them, but the whole squad knows the roles within the side, know what's expected, and I think it just highlights exactly how well drilled De Zerbi has gotten this side. They build out from the back, not just effectively, but like revolutionarily. If that's even a word. The way they build up is going to be copied, and it's going to be used in football academies across the globe because it's absolutely sensational. And the reasons why they're doing some of the technical aspects that they do is absolutely fascinating as well. They are patient, almost cocky with it in their build-up play because they're asking you to come and try and press them, which makes a mistake, which drags you out of position, which enables them to be able to break lines and get the ball in behind some of your players. It's fantastic. It's not uncommon for Brighton centre-halves to be seen lingering on the ball. They put their studs on the ball. They knock it side to side. They look disinterested. It's a trap. Don't fall for it. They're asking you to come and press them, to come and try and take it off them, but they're so good, they're so technical, they're so well drilled in this. They know what they're going to be able to do, and they knock it past you, and then they play through you, and you've absolutely fucked it. If you have any sort of lapses in concentration, this Brighton side is capable of biting, and you will find yourself a goal down early on because they really do not mess about. Now, the wide areas, you got to watch them in the wide areas because they thrive when their wide players get on the ball and get going forward. And when they play as wide as they do, opposition players are left exposed 1v1, and that gives the Brighton wide players the opportunity to attack, and they have a very high success rate going 1v1 against fullbacks, especially if they've managed to switch it quickly. The fullback can get out there, but what you're going to often see is the near side centre-half is going to want to cover the front post. So if you've gone all the way out to the touchline to go 1v1 with your winger as a fullback, then the gap that's in between you and that near side centre-half is problematically large. Now, you've seen teams slide in a number 6 into the back line to be able to help with that, but that doesn't always work and actually can leave you undermanned in midfield, and if they decide to switch it back across. So you've really got to mind your P's and Q's in their build-up, because they can and they will hurt you. And Matoma and March have found a lot of success this season. They're receiving the ball to feet, trying to take their man on, finding themselves with acres of space when they run into, and what you thought was a +1 is now a -1 or even man for man, which is a problem, because if they beat another man, they've overloaded you in the back line, and that is a problem. In terms of 11, I'm expecting this out of them, and I think the star man, it's safe to say, is Evan Ferguson, a United player, if ever I saw one, that hasn't actually signed for the club just yet. But he's coming off a hat-trick against Newcastle, completely on fire at the moment, extremely confident in the Brighton system because he knows exactly what he's required to do and how to do it as well. He gets on the end of so many chances. He is powerful, he is deceptively quick, and he works hard, always looking to try and force an error. So you've got to be careful with him. He's got really good vision, and I think an underrated side of his game is his ability to play make and drop in a little bit deeper. Alan Shearer was asked about him, and he says, what do I love about him? Everything. Wow. There's not much better praise than that. Apparently there's interest from United, who are monitoring the situation. I almost hope that he has a really good game and we beat him like 4-2 or something like that to make someone's mind up about signing him for the future, because I think he's an absolute United star in waiting. We just need to move and get him. And people are like, we've just signed Højlund. Don't care. Make it work, because he's too good to miss out on. Starting 11 for Manchester United: Onana in net, Wan-Bissaka, Reguilon, and fingers crossed it's Martinez. I think it'll probably be Lindelof that he lines up alongside, because I don't think Varane's going to be fit. If Varane is fit, of course, it's Varane that goes straight into there. And then again, I'm hoping on the fitness of Amrabat. If it's not Amrabat, I do think it'll be Scott McTominay in this situation, because we're going to need the legs alongside Casemiro. Bruno in the 10. I'll get to the right-hand side in a second. Marcus off the left. Højlund down the middle. Mason Mount off the right-hand side. That's how I think it's going to work. It could be Bruno off the right with Mason in the centre, but I think Mason off the right-hand side gives him a very straightforward job to do, and that's something that he can undertake. Match winner for United. I mean, realistically, you're looking at Højlund and Amrabat to really do something, but Bruno Fernandes, ridiculously successful international break, has got momentum coming into this, hopefully able to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Of course, he's the captain, a lot of responsibility to pull us back after the demoralising start to the season that we have had. He is an extreme creator, and I think that he'll be the primary source of creation for Højlund. So even if Højlund's the one that's getting the goals, it's because Bruno Fernandes is supplying the ammunition. It's a big, big game for him. If he comes up with a goal or an assist here that gets us with our noses in front, that'll be huge for us. As I mentioned at the start of the show, this preview is brought to you by our friends at Parimatch UK, and I have an exclusive bet boost for you that you cannot get anywhere else. My bet for this weekend is as follows. 1, Højlund to score anytime, please. And 2, United to win 2-1. Why is that? Well, delusion, maybe? Optimism? Good odds, actually. No, I think United are capable of scoring in this game. I don't know if we're capable of keeping a clean sheet. I fear not. But I do think that 2-1 Manchester United feels real well here. United have got our backs to the walls a little bit. We haven't been great away from home, admittedly, but I do think we're due some good form here. And I think with having Bayern Munich coming up, maybe there's some scores getting settled. I think Amrabat, if he plays, Højlund, if he plays, it's two players we just haven't had. And I think they're going to be so important. I think they're going to make something happen. That's why I think Højlund anytime score, United 2-1, a little bit of hope in there, let's be honest. And that bet, exclusive for you guys, has been boosted from 15-1 to 18-1, which I think makes it a nice and spicy one. How'd you get involved on the bet boost? All you got to do is click the link that is in the description below. And remember, prices are subject to fluctuation and availability. You need to be 18 or over to participate. And we all know football, and especially United at the moment, are completely unpredictable. So this is just a little bit of fun to enhance your enjoyment of the game. It is not a promise of winning. For help or more information on responsible gaming, please visit begambleaware.org. The link for that is in the description as well. Once again, this bet is exclusive to Parimatch UK and myself. And if you want to get involved, click the link in the description or let me know what your bets are going to be in the comments below. So how do we beat Brighton then? I think the first thing is possession with a purpose. All right, Rennie Mullenstein. But possession needs to be purposeful because Brighton are not going to make this easy for us as well. And I think you have to know where and when and what areas of the pitch you want to move the ball in to cause problems for Brighton. I think Brighton are going to sit off us a little bit more. With it being at Old Trafford, I think it's going to be essential that we make our possessions purposeful and effective. And when we get the opportunity to counter-attack, we do so with speed because it's a real asset for us, but also limit their opportunities to counter-attack. If you're going to try something risky, you do it in the final third. You do it in the right circumstances when the risk is balanced against the reward that you're going to get from this. Let's not try and play out in front of Evan Ferguson and see what happens with him. Be very careful with it. Højlund starting would be a massive boost for us. The physicality and ability to both free himself to receive the ball, but also pick out a pass with his back to goal, make those possessions purposeful in the final third, gives us a real good start. Secondly, and I think you can almost copy and paste this into every single match preview, but you've got to win the midfield battle. Midfield is where games are won and lost. And it really feels like the midfield battles are becoming a lot more difficult in the Premier League because the quality of midfields keeps improving. I mean, look at Brighton's midfield. They literally just sold an entire midfield and it's still going to be a struggle for us in this one. If Amrabat steps into the fray, it'll be because he's fit, for starters. I think him and Casemiro is a mouth-watering task, but you've still got Eriksen, Bruno, Mount. You've got all sorts of others that can argue for a spot, as well as McTominay and eventually Mainu. United have got a strong, deep midfield as soon as everyone is fit. When we're dealing with he's not fit, he's out of form, then it gets problematic for us. But you've got to be able to go and take the fight in midfield to the opposition. So if we're able to do that through selection this weekend, we will be in a good spot. And then finally, the transitions. Brighton were beaten 3-1 by West Ham's side. That just made it difficult. They found it difficult to play through them. West Ham had 21.5% possession. It was literally a David Moyes masterclass. Second lowest possession figure by a team in the Premier League game that had scored 3 goals. And that is ever, not just this season. So even if we're at home, make it difficult for Brighton. Almost sometimes let them have the ball a little bit, because I think they're going to want to come to Old Trafford and let us have the ball. Nah, let them have the ball. Let's us sink into a little bit of a shape. United now just don't have the one in behind threat. Højlund is a threat in behind, and whoever we play on the right-hand side is TBC, obviously, but I think Højlund is a threat in behind down the middle. So Højlund and Rashford, you can afford to just be a little bit adventurous. You're not just aiming for the left channel no more. You can aim for a bit of an area, half space, left half space, over the middle. United have got a player or two capable of getting on the end of something. United can be a little bit more risky with our balls over the top if that Brighton line has pushed up to the halfway line. And guess what? It will have done. So there's ways to make that happen there. Make it difficult. Make it hard to play through. That's what Amrabat and Casemiro would do in midfield. You get Bruno buzzing around alongside Højlund up front, putting a little bit of pressure on that back line. United can do this, especially at home. United can absolutely do this, but we need to go and make it happen. That's how I think this game's going to go. Give me your predictions in the comments. Check out our partners, Parimatch UK, for my exclusive bet boost in the description. And I will see you lot in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.